I now have the pleasure of introducing Chukwunonso Inoma. Chukwunonso is a strategic leader known for driving growth and reinvention across West Africa. In his section, Resilience and Reinvention in Practice, he'll share practical insights on how leaders can adapt, refocus, and sustain performance in times of change. Chukwunonso, welcome. We apologize for the slightly delayed start to your slot, but over to you. It's a pleasure to have you. Thank you.
Thank you. I think you may have to enable the sharing button so that way it's easy for me to share when I'm ready to share my slide. First thing first, my name is Chukwunonso Inoma. I've been in the industry for over 20 years, focused on sales and marketing and also clearly strategy. I feel Sean set me up by ensuring that wellness went first. So somebody coming from the pressure cooker itself in delivery will now have to check his words while he's engaging and to be sure that he does not try as much as possible to dampen the mood of the previous presenters and the session that we had. It was quite insightful, I must add.
It was. Thank you, Chukwunonso.
So, Sean, can you enable so that I can be able to share, or do you want to share from your side?
Chukwunonso, my understanding is you'll be sharing your slide deck. And I hope this works the same way for you as well. If you navigate to the bottom of your Zoom screen, if you hover at the bottom, a bar would come up, and in the middle, there's a green block with an arrow that says share.
Yes, the button used to be there, but it's not there now. That's what I'm saying.
Not there now. Let's see if our technical support team can assist. Please give us one moment, everyone on the line.
Okay, I think Elizabeth. Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. Okay, so let's dive into it. Resilience and reinvention. I think if the more you look at it, the more you think through it, the more you try as much as possible to understand the purpose of this conversation that we're going to be having today, the more it becomes clearer why resilience is an attitude on its own. I will give you that as an example from somebody that has worked in the telecommunication sector, have worked in the oil and gas sector, in the FMCG sector, and have been successful in ensuring that I don't just achieve company numbers, but reinvent as we move along. Regardless of the sector, I can say that I achieved the best sales manager in 3 different businesses at 3 different sectors as well. Now, what is resilience to everyone? Everyone can easily tell you that from where they sit, it's the ability to recover quickly, is the attitude to bounce back. But again, I would say your mental wellness is important while you're driving resilience. Yes, clearly, as a leader. Your physical well-being is very important while you're driving wellness. Yes, strongly as a leader as well. Now, how do you, as a leader, make those changes and to be able to drive the expected growth by business? First thing you need to do is to make sure that you are on point of your personal well-being. Most importantly, I have to say that, and I have to point that out to be able to buttress in the earlier conversation we had. Please, the next slide. Elizabeth? Elizabeth, can you hear me? Okay. Thank you. Now, I've spoken about the emotional aspect. Please, the next one. And the mental flexibility, I've spoken about that. And Please, Elizabeth.
I'm here. Is this not the right slide?
Okay, thank you. Yes, now where? The reinvention process. How do you even start? First of all, you go by the resilience. Secondly, you now talk about reinvention. How do you even start? There's a personal aspect to it. There's a professional aspect to it. I would say from a business point of view, I remember, first of all, when we started at Starcoms and we were battling the likes of MTN. By the way, I need to be able to point this thing out, especially for people in different countries. MTN is your normal GSM, while Starcoms is your normal CDMA. CDMA for guys in South Africa is like your telecom before they got the GSM license. So now that helps you to be able to understand what we were trying as much as possible to fight against from a reinvention point of view. It's trying as much as possible to go leave the old telecom to come to the new telecom to be able to compete with the likes of MTN, the Vodafones, and the rest of them within that South African space. And in Nigeria will be to fight against within the MTNs, the Airtels that we currently have. Now, one of the things we did was to be able to introduce what we now call the CUG network. It's one of the products that we're still selling till today in that marketplace. Another thing that we did in reinvention is we now focused strongly on what telecom is very strong at, which is data connectivity. And those data connectivity, the fiber connectivity that was pulled down through the Eastern Mediterranean to Nigeria, we sold that data connectivity to the likes, if you know, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, the Mountain of Fire, the Winners Chapels. They are currently using those data connectivities till today. Now, what did that help? As at 2004, it helped us understand, 2004 to 2009, it helped us to understand that that was when the shift happened with regards to voice to data, from voice to data. That has helped to be able to now say from a business point of view. Now, from a personal point of view, what does that mean from a resilience point of view and from a reinvention? It means that you must train your staffs to now be data conscious, no longer selling of voice. You must train your staff to understand that data is the footstool of the next shift in the generational drive with regards in the telecommunication sector. Now, that led me to say, okay, fine. What do you do next? Thank you, Elizabeth. So as we move along, you start seeing that a business is on target. A business is driving purpose. Now, at what point does that business sit back and say, I need to be able to look at my people. I need to be able to understand what the uncertainties are. I need to be able to drive each individual. It means that it has to be defined as you move along. And this is from a business point of view. Now, from a personal point of view, what do you do? How do you help to drive this conversation? How do you help to be able to move yourself? It simply means that you must be able to tell yourself the truth. When I get home every day, and maybe let's say work starts from 9 till 5 or till 6, what do I do from a personal point of view? To be able to rechannel, if I have kids, to be able to look at my kids' homework, if I have a family, to be able to help prepare a meal, what do you do? My advice, off your phone. If you can, disconnect. Get that momentum back the next day in the morning, so that from that 6 in the evening or from that 7 when you get home, you're able to stay put and engage with your family as you move along. Please, next slide. And that helps you to be able to understand how you need to be able to drive that focus, how you need to be able to own your space. because nobody will do it for you. The business is not after when you're just at work. If you leave your direct bosses, or even if you leave myself, I will call you in the evening, maybe around 9, to ask to catch up, to say how it was today, what are the areas of opportunities you see. I'll definitely do those callings. But does that help you? So now, how does resilience and reinvention come together? So these are two pillars. To be able to drive that success, you must seize new opportunities to be able to thrive. And I'm not just talking about innovation in business, I'm talking about new ways of living off your phone. Reconnect with your family when you get home. Have an understanding to be able to build a plan. You know, when we define what resilience means and what reinvention means, it means a different thing to a South African. It means a different thing to a Nigerian. And I will show that as we move along. Please, next. My apologies that I cannot present from my side, otherwise we'll be able to move faster. Good, wonderful. So, environment. These are the things that we'll look at. If you remember when Ernest Muller was presenting, Ernest said something about environment. Ernest introduced and talked about where he stays in South Africa. That where he stays to him made a whole lot of difference. And for people that have visited Lagos, you cannot stay in an environment like Lekki and work in Ikeja and expect to be productive. You cannot stay in an environment like, if you know the posh area in Johannesburg, and stay in the not so posh area in Johannesburg, and your transit time from work is over 30 minutes or maybe 1 hour. If your transit time from work is over 1 hour and you may be in the holdup while you're at it, it becomes a bit difficult for you to be able to get to the office and get yourself in your right space to be able to do your job. So environment does determine how you are able to be productive in your workplace. Another thing that you can look about an environment is, if you guys remember Lee Kuan Yew, Singapore, the former head of Singapore, he said something. He moved from Singapore to go and get education in the United Kingdom. However, the changes he made in Singapore was when he finished his educational process and returned back to Singapore. So sometimes you need to detach yourself from an environment so that you can be able to affect or bring the expected change in the environment where you are. So the reason why sometimes they tell you, step out. That's why I mentioned that you may need to take your leave, you may need to take your off your phone in the evening hours. That's why I mentioned that you may need to take your leave as well. Learn when to detach and learn when to change environment. I'll give you an example. I remember while in Unilever, we had a distributor that all he was able to cover was only Lagos, Port Harcourt, and Abuja. This individual has the resources, but he could not see beyond Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt because that's only where he goes. Those are the areas where he visits. So he cannot bring any change to his to the distribution network that is supposed to drive the entire business, because only what he could see was only Lagos, Port Harcourt, and Abuja. So your environment matters. How you are able to navigate through your environment can also help you to bring the necessary change, or to be able to be steadfast in helping to procure a new way of living or a new way of engaging your life. Thank you. Please, next. Apologies, guys. Now, key questions. Are we being stretched or sustained in the space of your resilience process or mindset? Are my routines and relationships feeding my future? Meaning what you do at work and what you do at home. How do they help you to be able to achieve your purpose? I gave an example earlier on where I said that for me, when I get to my house, and I said the same thing to my team, if you can, have 2 mobile phones in the evening when you get home off the one that is the work phone, so that you can be able to engage your family. Your children will need you. They will definitely want to be able to have a conversation with you. Your wife needs the same. Because Nigeria is a pressure-based country, and pressure-based in terms of achievement, pressure-based in terms of innovation, you must, I tell businesses anywhere in the world that I have visited, if you want to understand what is going on in your country, you must visit Nigeria. You must be able to understand the youthfulness of Nigeria and how that relates to your business. I like to give an example of how Nigeria knew what was going to happen to Nokia before Nokia knew what was happening to Nokia business. And when I said that to people, I said, how is that possible? I said, go and look at MTN. When MTN came to Nigeria, not a lot of businesses were able to come to Nigeria, whether it's the telecommunication businesses or otherwise. MTN took that plunge, went against every research methodology that was shared with them, and say that this is a business we want to be able to go into. What did they do differently? They made sure they hired Nigerians across board to be able to drive understanding from grassroots directly to the boardroom. Those are the areas of resilience when you talk about an individual. Reason why I say when you get home off your phone, because if you carry your work mindset into the family at home, you are not able to engage with anybody. All you're able to engage is you're thinking about one thing or the other. You may be having one epiphany and you decide, I need to be able to call up this individual. I forgot to be able to have this conversation. They're at the expense of your children. So from a resilience point of view, I believe that your mindset is what drives you. You see, that commitment, that focus, your network, that is what drives you. If your network is the people that are always involved in your business and they call you morning, afternoon, night, there's always one engagement or the other, so there is no unwinding. You're not able to find that comfort. You're not able to get that flow that will be able to drive you to achieve your purpose. That is another area you need to check as an individual. So that's why I said comfort replacing conviction. It's very, very important. The future rewards only bold and fearless individuals in the workplace, and not just in the workplace. Look at different countries. Rwanda is another example where they said to themselves, we are tired, we're done. No more fighting. We need to now get to be able to unite against one individual, and they did that. And look at where they are. They are now an example of resilience within the African context, but also defining how the reinventing and defining how Africa should be seen and viewed worldwide. Please, next. Elizabeth, I think we may need to move faster. Please. Now, law of curiosity. It's important to be able to understand this properly. Now, you cannot drive resilience if you're not curious. You cannot reinvent yourself if you're not curious. You can easily get from your house to workplace and from your workplace back to the house. This is where a sales manager or a marketing manager will be able to tell the business. Why is that so? A sales manager and a marketing manager should be able to have the pulse of the market, should be able to understand what is new in the market space, should be able to understand what is the trend in the marketplace, should be able to understand, is there a new hotel within town? You cannot claim to be one of the best sales managers and you do not understand what is happening within your space. Now, what does that help you do from a curiosity point of view? I give Nokia again as an example. I give BlackBerry again as an example. When Samsung came into the African market and Samsung came with the touchscreen, when iPhone came into the market and iPhone came into with the touchscreen, the positioning alone tells you that, oh, we are catering for a different market, but we're catering for the high-end market. Now, who buys phone for the cleaner? The high-end market. Who buys phone for the gate man? The high-end market. Who buys phone for the laborers? The high-end market. Now, the high-end market starts probably using the iPhones and started seeing that, oh, this thing is good, it's fantastic. The gate man, the laundry guy, and the below average of the society start aspiring to have those phones, start aspiring to be able to carry those phones. Now, the next aspect, the next part of it is that the sales and marketing team start thinking about how do we get this phone or this app to the lower end of the market. The next part they are thinking about is, where do we put it? The next thing is the pricing of it. How is the pricing going to be? Are we going to be profitable when that happens? So once they crack that, the next minute is that they're launching that phone in the marketplace, which is exactly what happened to, again, Nokia, again, BlackBerry, and Samsung did take care of the below end of the market initially, while iPhone took care of the higher end of the market. And together, they took away the market share enjoyed by BlackBerry and Nokia within that space. Now, what happened? Is it possible that the market research of our worlds, the companies within that Nokia was paying us at that period, were not giving them the data? Is it possible that the sales and marketing team of BlackBerry were not going to the market? I don't think so. I think they were all going to the market. I think, but however, going back to the wellness, I think they became very comfortable. I think they were so comfortable that they ignored what was on the table, what they could see. I think they did not see it as something that would take over the market in the next 5-10 years. They didn't see that. But they looked at their profitability till it happened. And they were playing hardball till it happened. Now, where was the reinvention for those businesses? They couldn't do anything in that space because they allowed the market to take to be able to run them over. So you have to be curious. Not only being curious, it requires new insight, new initiative. You have to take those initiatives when they come. At least test it. You can test it with one product. You can test it by just going to the marketplace and asking the people in the market what they feel. You can test it by coming to Nigeria. Please, next slide. The law of pressure. Because after the curiosity comes the major one, which is the pressures that drive the market. Now, when the pressure comes, most of the times, the business leaders decide to stick with what they know. That is one of the biggest challenges we see that stops that resilience and stops the reinvention. Once the pressure comes, most of the times the business leaders, they prefer to take the best route out possible. Most of them prefer not to be able to do anything. In fact, if you tell them as at that period, test the waters, they will tell you, no, let's leave it the way it is. We are still winning. We are still trying. And by with time, they get to a space where they can do nothing other than to fold or to sell their business. And as an individual, what do you do when you are under pressure? I say to everyone, if you're in sales or if you're in marketing or if you're a business leader, pressure is good. I say it to everyone. Pressure is good. Pressure is like an adrenaline that you must create, find your creativity. Pressure helps you to be able to stand firm. Pressure helps you to be able to welcome challenging opinions so that people can challenge your own opinion and tell you that this is wrong. Then you, as long as you welcome those opinions and dialogue with them, you'll be able to know whether it's actually right or wrong. Example that I say to everyone, they say, if you do not dialogue, how do you make changes? One of the strongest points of Lee Kuan Yew in Singapore was that he welcomed opinions from everyone. Lee Kuan Yew welcomed opinions from no matter who you are. Come to the table, let's have conversations on it. If you feel that I'm definitely under pressure and I don't know what I'm doing, come, let's be able to discuss it that way. We'll be able to form an opinion that helps to resolve whatever it is. You reinvent or you stand strong. Please, next. So that mindset, we have to welcome pressure and not allow pressure be the reason why we'll crumble. Please, Elizabeth. So how do you fight against pressure? I think I've listed this in terms of, please, let's move to the next one. It will help everyone. I've already spoken on this so that I can get to the different parts earlier than. And by the way, guys, these slides will be shared with everyone. So it helps everybody. Please, next. It helps everybody understand where we are. And we can all also appreciate the difficulties that we are currently having due to network. Please, next, Elizabeth. Okay. Yes, thank you. Now, why I moved straight to that, because we've already spoken on different topics on this, and how do you disrupt? Everybody loves the language. Everybody enjoys saying, I'm a disruptor. I enjoy doing this, I enjoy doing that. But the idea, there's a pattern to it. Having an initiative necessitates being proactive. You have to be proactive at it. So in your workplace, usually I say to people that are doers, there are people that do what the business says they should do. And there are people that are creative and they challenge the initiatives. Example is some of us that follow football. Jurgen Klopp, on his last recent interview, Jurgen Klopp said something. He said, the way I engage Miller and the way I engage Sadio Mane is different. He said, Sadio Mane lived in a room without windows. Sadio Mane, I may have to tell what to do. Miller, I don't need to tell him what to do because he started football from the age of probably 3, 4, compared to somebody that started football at the age of 1 or age of 11, sorry. Compared to somebody that started football at the age of 15. Being a disruptor, you must first of all understand the business, the culture of the organization, and the style of leadership. Very
Alzlian team, I'm not sure if we've lost connectivity with Chukwunonso.
It's what it looks like that. So maybe just give him a second to reconnect. He might have to log back in.
Thanks, everyone.
MTN is sabotaging him.
Ladies and gents, while we wait for Chukwunonso to rejoin, if there are any questions in the chat, I see there's a lot of comments. We'll try and share some of those. But if there are questions, do let us know. I'm keeping an eye there to see what you would like us to answer or what you would like Chukwunonso to answer. Feel free to chat your questions at least.
Okay. Please, Elizabeth, the next slide. Apologies on the network again, right? So, please, Elizabeth. Now, I have mentioned about Nokia. I've mentioned about BlackBerry. Again, if you sit closer to your profit margins, if you sit closer to your profitability, you fail to be able to see the sunlight on the horizon. I think it's very important based on these businesses I've mentioned. Please, the next slide. So that helps us to be able to understand clearly. Please, next slide, please. Thank you. The successes. Now I need to talk about some businesses within Nigeria that has been able to reinvent themselves. Most of them, some of them, I tried as much as possible to gather businesses that have a global, a West African take to it and a South African take to it. Please, the previous slide, Presco. Presco is a business where they are able to, it's a palm oil business. It sells its raw materials to businesses within, no, the previous one, please, Elizabeth. The one on Presco, please. They're able to sell their raw materials within Nigeria. South African business that bought over Presco saw an opportunity. No, you're going forward. I'm saying backward. The South African business that saw Presco and bought into it, if you look at the current growth, because they sold part of the business directly to another Nigerian business recently, they just sold 40% of it. So the Nigerian business currently controls the majority share of the business, which is 60%. They are able to deliver on business expectation. They grew the business by over 106 billion in just the first quarter. In first half, sorry. Again, talking about reinvention. This Presco was able to, what did they do differently? For me, I think it's, they bought into the business, they expanded their plantation size, and they made sure they brought in more workforce within the business, and also went to different businesses like Unilever, Nestle, and all of them, and signed a long-term agreement, stopping those businesses from buying products, raw materials from outside the country. Now they buy those raw materials from Presco, and reason why they were able to achieve over 160 billion profit after tax in just the first half of the year. Now, the banking sector in Nigeria launched a digital platform just over 7 or 8 years ago, and that has helped them to reinvent the banking business. Now, everybody's talking about mobile money. The difference is that if you travel to some of the countries outside the country, you don't hear mobile money. But if you come to Nigeria or you come to West Africa or East Africa, you hear about M-Pesa. you hear about OPE and the rest of them. That has helped to be able to reinvent the banking sector. Now, MTN has their own mobile money wallet. Airtel has their own mobile money wallet. Glo has their own mobile money wallet, just purely focused on reinvention. And if you look at even Equity Bank in East Africa and Saraficom in East Africa, all of them have driven their profitability into the mobile money space and also into the next part with regards to profitability for business. So you don't stand one place and expect to be profitable. Now, I'm going to now, following that, to now speak, how does that affect the FMCG space? Unilever on its own, from a sustainability and purpose-driven strategy, speaking again on mental health and wellness, they launched a Unilever Sustainability Living Plan as far back as 2010. They introduced eco-friendly products like the Dove Refinable, Omo Eco-Active. They also repackaged the platform with regards to staffs, saying that they're going to retrain most of the staffs in the workforce by 2025. That is rescaling all employees to be able to meet up with the modern way of working. A business is already doing that. Why is it possible for Unilever to be able to do that? Unilever has been around in Nigeria for over 100 and something years. Unilever has been around the world for even more than that. So businesses with such years of experience have been able to train their managers to be able to meet up not just with the resilience aspect of development and purpose-driven with regards to business objectives, but to reinvent themselves as well. Then you now talk about wellness, launched Connected for Growth for Agility and the rest, and that in that Unilever globally. What did that do for Unilever Nigeria? It helped Unilever Nigeria to be able to achieve. It helped Unilever Nigeria. Please, let's move forward, please. It helped Unilever Nigeria to be able to achieve 54% underlying sales growth. It helped Unilever Nigeria operating profitable growth by 444%. It helped Unilever Nigeria profit after tax by 225% on half year alone. So is it possible that you can drive wellness and drive resilience and at the same time achieve business profitability and drive that and have your workforce all in tune with the plan? Yes, it is. It's possible. It has been done by Toby in Nigeria, the MD of Unilever in Nigeria. So is it possible? Yes, it's possible. That also brings us to please, Elizabeth, can we move forward? Yes, this is the growth I was talking about just earlier with regards to what all the global reinvention that was done within Unilever, how it helped Unilever Nigeria to be able to achieve its business objective, how it helped Toby especially to be able to drive meaningful conversations with all the staffs within the country, and also ensure that they reinvent Unilever Nigeria from declining 3 years back. They've been on consistent growth for the past 2 years. So that is a proof for it. Please, next slide. Now, what does that do? Embracing a strong change across borders. It has been communicated, it drives all through, and it helps us to be able to meet the business objective as the case may be. Now, initiating change across borders, the agility and the flexibility that drives through that, the leadership beyond borders that helps us to be able to achieve those growth? Is it scalable? Can we innovate while we're doing that without just focusing on what the business globally is saying? Yes, you must be able to drive that focus, focusing only on your own environment and see how you can be able to manage differently. Reason why I said earlier, how do you help someone that stays in Lekki and he works in Ikeja? Help the individual understand that the closer you are to the business, if you can commute from your workplace to your home in less than 20 minutes or in less than 30 minutes, it helps you to be able to refocus properly, have more flexibility with regards to time you leave work and time you go to drop your children in school or time you get to the office. Please, next slide. The next one. We have spoken about the global mindset and how you translate into it. We've also spoken about the leadership beyond border and the scalable and innovations that go with it. The next one, please. And the agility and thank you. Then, in trying to bring this messaging to a place where it helps everyone, resilience and reinvention are not just optional surviving tools. I said this from somebody that had thrived not just in surviving within the sales business, with the marketing business at 3 different businesses, but for somebody that has launched products in both in the CUG network within the telecommunication space, the water purifier at Unilever in Nigeria, Ghana, and Cote d'Ivoire, and the Crown Heavy Duty within corn oil, and the same Crown Heavy Duty at Delta Fuel and Lubricants, where you also have the same business in Tanzania. So, bouncing and moving along, you must first of all understand that you are the prize. It is not the leadership of the business. For you to be able to achieve anything I remember when we were in India, we're looking at the Shakti program. I saw that for every woman that was in the Shakti program, the kiosk or the store where she's doing the business is closer to her home or is directly in front of their house. So, meaning that everybody within the neighborhood comes to them to maybe buy close-up, maybe comes to them to maybe buy Pepsodent, maybe comes to them to maybe buy Omo, maybe Rexona or whatever. But what they're buying is 15 gram, 10 gram, 20 gram. You won't see any one of them saying it's they're buying 25 kg. It's not sold in those places because it was packaged in such a way that it meets the need of the individuals you're selling to and the price point of the territory where you're selling it to. And the person that is selling the product, who happens to be the Shakti owner, also can transit from one point to the other, take their children to school, and also make sure that they meet the needs of their family and also achieve business objective based on the target that was set for them. So you must stay adaptable, encourage innovation in your space, build networks that support that growth, then learn continually. One of the aspects that in business you must learn. That's part of the reason I can beat my chest and say I'm an alumni of BSN International from Nigeria. I have made it a custom that learning and improving myself is a yearly activity that I must take one way or the other. Thank you. Next slide, please. Then you close. No, you're going back. Yeah, any question?
Chukwunonso, thank you very much for those insights. I must say you've definitely proven resilience today with the challenges you've had. But thank you. You've gone through it, and great example there. I just quickly wanted to see there from a question. There are a few comments, but I think let's start with the questions that were posed. The first one was, let me just quickly find that particular question. Just one moment. So let me share one of the comments. It's crucial to ask whether our routines and relationships are aligned with where we're trying to go. And intentional time pays long-term dividends, is the one comment we've got. Diane commented to say she loves the fact your comment around, are my routines and relationships feeding my future? She feels it's very important in today's fast-paced lifestyle. Be smart about where you spend your time. Again, it'll pay dividends. There's a question from Patience Effiong. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Patience. The question is, what is the difference between calculated pressure and pressure? Maybe you can fill us in on that.
So first and first is that there is pressure in everything we do. It's calculated pressure is it's a way of saying that you have to be proactive than reactive. Because if you sign up and say, I have to go from one point to the other, let's say when you're moving from Lekki to Ikeja, if you leave Lekki by 7 in the morning, there's a guarantee that if the meeting is by 10, you're not going to be there. That is the pressure you put on yourself. You know, but if you leave Lekki by 5 and the meeting is by 8, it simply means you'll be there on time for the meeting by 8 if you leave Lekki by 5. So I'm using distance to be able to explain pressure. Then if I now move it to sales targets and move it to people like the Nokias of this world or the Blackberries, it's to say, if you do not go to the market, you won't know what is happening in the marketplace. And when you do not know what is happening in the marketplace, what do you feed back to the business? What is the engagement in the office? How will the business be able to give you an idea of or support whatever is going on in the market for you? If the market is saying, I need Pepsodent 2 grams, and every time you supply a Pepsodent of 100 grams, your competitor, let's say McLean, supplies McLean of 5 grams, and the shelf life says that it sells out in less than 1 week, but your 100 grams sells out in 1 month. There's a pressure because at the end of the day, the business is asking you on returns. I gave you 10 cartons. You're not able to sell 10 cartons in 1 month. However, I'm looking at McLean. McLean is able to sell the same number of cartons in 1 week. What is the difference? The pressure is there. But if you give the business the information that McLean is selling 10 cartons in 1 week because they're selling 5 grams, while we were supplying the market 100 grams, then the business will be able to have a conversation that says, what is the profit margin of the business to be able to sell 5 grams in the same marketplace? So that helps the business to mitigate against McLean running them out of the market. But if the information came earlier to say that total number of individuals within this territory are 100, and their per capita income is 10 naira, meaning that anything you sell above 5 naira, they cannot be able to afford it. If that information goes to the business, there is no way the business will be designing a plan to sell a product for 8 naira or 10 naira. So you have to understand that if it's from a personal point of view, you have to set out on time to ensure that you mitigate against such things. If it's from a business point of view, you need to be mindful of what is happening in the marketplace so that your business can be able to support you. I don't want to speak with regards to how wellness comes into this. I would prefer to stay away from that topic.
Thank you, Chukwunonso. I'm going to give you one more question. And then my eye fell on a comment here that I think would be a great close for today. But the question reads, from Patience Still, what role does resilience and reinvention play when it comes to capacity building?
It starts from the day you hire the staff. If you're coming from a leadership point of view, then it starts from you being able to develop yourself as you move along. Capacity building simply means that you must keep on developing yourself. There's a reason why you have Sean being very comfortable in front of all of us. If you look at the background of John, you see textbooks, notebooks, and the rest of it. There's a reason, because he has been doing this thing over time. So he understands what appeals to his audience, and he gives the audience exactly what the audience needs at every point in time. That's from an individual point of view. But to be able to train a staff, it starts from when you hire the staff in terms of capacity building. You have to be able to tell yourself, what does this staff bring to the table based on the problem I want this staff to solve? How do I get this staff to be able to solve this problem? He can be able to give me these informations so that I can be able to help him solve a bit of it, but I need to train him. If it's from a sales point of view, you need to go to the market with him or her so that you can be able to guide the individual on how the marketing or how you're able to engage each customer, or how you're able to talk to the kind of feedback you get back from the marketplace. If it's from a marketing point of view, you need to focus strongly from the creative part of it. Creative part of it is that a person must be data savvy and be able to analyze data as the case may be, and on their feet. You must be able to train that habit into that salesperson, into that marketing person. So I've explained it from a sales point of view, marketing point of view, and also from an individual point of view.
Lovely.
Using Sean as my guinea pig.
Anytime. Thank you, Chukwunonso. Chukwunonso, so 2 comments in closing on this segment, and thank you really once again for the insights that you brought us. Royzanne Comfer comments, a curious mind rarely stays stuck for long. I think that really stood out for me. I want to share Simone Zili's comment as well, and it made me smile when I read it. She comments, comfort zones are where dreams go to hibernate. So get uncomfortable and grow. I love that. I love that. I'm not sure if you want to have some input.
I love that as well. That's why I said earlier when I talked about pressure, you must if the pressure is not there, you may lack the creativity to be able to come out of those issues. The pressure helps you drive yourself, helps you drive your team, helps you, sometimes I say drive your children, because if you're looking at your child and you're saying that I want my child, or your child is telling you, Daddy, I want to be a pilot, you're saying the cost is a bit high. What can I afford it? So if your child is pushing you in that direction, you have to work hard to be able to pay for those the flight times or the training times. And that's why I say pressure most times, as long as you welcome opinions, you're able to grow with it.
Great. Chukwunonso, so thank you, and thank you for the inspiring conversation today. I think as leaders, our greatest challenge and our greatest opportunity is to keep reinventing ourselves while staying true to purpose. And thank you for leaving us with that thought this afternoon. Thank you for your time, and thank you for also overcoming these challenges we had today. You've done a great job, and we look forward to reconnecting with you at some point in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gents, I'm going to propose that as we approach the end of day, and I want to interrupt myself and say once again from BSN side, thank you very much for those that are still on the line. We appreciate your time in overrunning slightly. We're about to close out shortly. If you can stay with us for a few more minutes. Next up, we're going to take the quick poll just in reflection on Chukwunonso's segment. If I can ask the team just to bring up the poll. Thank you. The question today on this one is, should we host more on resilience and reinvention? How leaders adapt and thrive through change. Question again, should we host more on resilience and reinvention? How leaders adapt and thrive through change. Thank you. We'll give it another 15 seconds or so, Elsley. Kiana, I'm not sure who's driving the polls, but thank you. Right. Thank you, everyone. I think we can close the poll. Now, before we say goodbye to each other for the end of day, I'd like to invite you to participate in one more round of speed dating. Practice makes perfect, they say, so let's get a bit more practice in this. I certainly have lost my touch. I'd be happy to join one of the sessions. I am going to ask that the team again breaks us out into groups. Context, I just want to recap on that. So the spirit of this is to make it fun, fast, and full of opportunity. You'll be placed automatically in small breakout rooms for about 5 minutes with a few people each. Start with a quick introduction of yourself, your name, your role, where you're joining from. Maybe one insight or challenge that's top of mind for you today, just a nugget that you share with your breakout room, something that sparks curiosity or a conversation perhaps. You know, ask questions, be inquisitive, listen actively, keep it dynamic. And again, remember, energy is contagious. For those of you that would like, exchange details to connect on LinkedIn, and we'll see you back in about 5 or 6 minutes. Thank you.
John? All our participants are returning to the main room in about 40 seconds.
Thank you, Ozlee. All right, Ozlee, may I assume that everyone is back?
I will have a quick look.
Thank you.
Still joining back.
Thank you.
Everybody's still coming back. Looks like we're all here, Jean.
Thank you, Ozlee. These must have been really good dates. So, thank you. All right, everyone. For us, that's a wrap for day one of the Global Leadership Conference 2025. I must say, what a day. It's been eventful. It's been insightful. Across continents and time zones, we've shared ideas that challenge us, conversations that inspire us, and also perspectives that push us to think bigger about leadership. But as leaders, we don't just reflect, we act. So tonight, take a moment to capture one insight, maybe one connection you've made, or one idea that you will carry forward, and let it fuel your thinking, your strategy, and your leadership tomorrow. Remember, leadership is about curiosity, courage, and connection. And judging by the energy in today's session, there is no doubt that each of you is ready to lead loudly and make a real impact. On behalf of everyone at Business School Netherlands, thank you for your energy, your engagement, and your courage to lead differently. Sleep well, dream big, and get ready to return tomorrow. We look forward to seeing you then. Big round of applause, everyone. Thank you.